Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 252. And you know what? I have done more episodes than Reply All, which is one of the most popular podcasts, I think, in the world. And I have done more than they have. And they're in a, downward tailspin. So they're not going to do any for a little while now, it sounds like. Anyway, it's not too much Schadenfreude, I don't think. I like that podcast. I enjoy it. So I'm sorry. But also, it's just funny to realize that I've done a fair amount of podcasts. Anyway, thank you. If you're just joining me, you're like, what is this? Podcast bashing other podcast? No. Not unless someone does something that really makes me mad, in which case, yes, I will. But it'll be a well-crafted, bloggy type bashing, not this sort. It's just one of those interesting markers where, I can tell myself a lot of stories about, my lack of success in this or that or the other thing. It's not for nothing that this podcast and the blog are called Songs for the Struggling Artist. There's a thing. But it's moments like this where it's like, wait a second. Am I doing better than I think I'm doing? Like, for example, I haven't figured out like what to write about this yet, but I read this whole article about Spotify and how, artists are getting played and paid on Spotify. And I'm actually doing better than like the average person or the average artist on Spotify that has at least one play. That's their metric. The like average number of plays per month is 16. And ladies and gentlemen, I tend to be more like 30 or 40. So I'm doing like twice the average on Spotify. Not for this podcast, but for the songs that are, connected to this podcast. So I think half of those, maybe all of them, are parents who use it, the lullabies for their children. Mwah. But still, like, I don't know. Those are moments where I think, oh God, only 30. But like 30 is twice as good as the average on Spotify. Anyway, in a way, this seems like a tangent, and it is, but it does connect a little bit to the blog that I am going to read to you today, and that it's like the perception of how we're doing. This blog came from a tweet I saw from the city of New York. The city of New York, I follow on Twitter, and they tweeted out this little business. And of course, it made me mad, so I had to write a thing. Here it is. Arts. Coming back strong. Hey, artists of New York! Have you had a rough year? Did the pandemic kick your ass all the way down the road? Well, have no fear. The city of New York tweeted out that the arts are coming back strong. So whatever you're feeling about things, forget about it, because the city of New York thinks we're doing great. This tweet also linked to an article about a Broadway vaccine center run by a stage manager. So I guess we're supposed to think that having a theater-specific vaccine center is supposed to mean the arts are doing great. They're not. The arts are coming back limping, maimed, much diminished, ill, and incredibly demoralized. To say the arts are coming back strong is to say a thing we might wish were true, but is not, by any stretch of the imagination. In order for the arts to come back strong now, someone would have needed to have done something in the past. We would have needed a bit more support than a few ad hoc emergency fund grants. We would have needed a full-on arts relief package. We would have needed to cancel the rent of theaters and rehearsal spaces. We would have needed to cancel the rent of individual artists or found funds to cover it. You can't do nothing for the artists of New York and then proclaim that the arts are coming back strong. That's a lie. The arts are coming back, of course, but we'll come back from the wars having lost scores of our brethren and sistren, if not to illness, then to more hospitable locations or graduate programs and other fields. Those of us who are still here are strong, sure, but it is a fantasy to declare the field as a whole to be strong. It is in the worst shape it has ever been in any of our lifetimes. But sure, we can go get our vaccines at a theater-specific site. That's nice, I guess. And it's in Times Square. How nostalgic. Hardly any theater folk live there, and since Broadway shut down over a year ago, there's no reason for folks to put up with going there unless they're in subsidized housing of some kind. But thanks so much. I hope the 6 people who still live there get extra doses for their friends. Meanwhile, what exactly do you think the arts are doing that indicates we're coming back strong? A few brave souls are making shows for the out of doors. There are a few who are diving into this open spaces program. That is basically the only nod this city has made toward its formerly economically beneficial industry. Come on, guys. You can't gaslight us into believing everything is great. I know it seems like you could positive think your way into a new, vibrant art scene, but even though theater folk, for example, are some of the most positive thinking people around, you can't fool us that hard. I know there are some theater folk who will protest. No, I am coming back strong. The city's right. Look at me. I made some Zoom shows and a piece at a drive-in. And I mean no disrespect to those people who feel like theater never went away. But also, look around you. Take stock. Who have we lost? Which spaces have closed or will close by the time we can safely open theaters again? Where can you no longer rent a rehearsal studio? I appreciate that technology has made international collaborations happen and that people's let's put on a show enthusiasm continues, even when there is no barn to put the show on in and neither is it safe to gather in the barn. That's all survival. That's all folks stepping into the small cracks of possibility and making something anyway. I applaud you, and it's not an example of coming back strong. It feels like here we are, trooping back from the wars, bleeding, our limbs in slings if we still have them, our friends left behind in the trenches, and the city looks at us and says, "You're coming back strong!" Go fuck yourself. We're coming back, sure. We all saw Les Miserables. We know how to keep moving forward even after we've lost. I believe it involves barricades, flag waving, and inspirational songs. But to say we're coming back strong after you did nothing to help us, it's just enraging. We are coming back. We're coming back tougher and angrier and hungrier and hopefully kinder and wiser. And I hope we're also coming back honest. The least the city of New York could do is to be honest as well. Let's start by acknowledging our losses, not trying to pretend everything is going great. It isn't. It is still a disaster. We are strong and we are coming back, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I wrote this several weeks ago, and since then, the governor of New York, still, unfortunately, the governor of New York declared that Broadway could reopen like this month, I think it was, which is just absurd because no, it can't. Like it can't. You can't just like go, ta-da, it's open. Like Do you know? Obviously not. He does not know how much work it takes to put up a Broadway show. And even though a lot of these shows were open before, it's going to take months to like rehire everybody, get everything reorganized. Anyway, like I think it's now September that shows actually can open. But yeah, I mean, come on. It's like these weird declarative, like, this is how it is. That is just like, no, it is not how it is, guys. It's not how it is. It's not how it is. It is not. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. I feel like I've actually gotten like sadder about it since things are starting to sort of, I don't know, like kick back into gear. Like, for example, I went to Brooklyn for the first time in ages. And it's like this weird quality of experiencing the pandemic from their perspective, right? Like my pandemic has been highly local, right? Like it's been just this neighborhood and even like not even the whole neighborhood, just like this like little circle around where I live. So I go to Brooklyn and see Fort Greene in Brooklyn and see businesses that I cherished are now gone, and to see like BAM, where I worked for 15 years, something like that. Like just shut, and like intellectually, I've known that it's been shut. Every single theater and theater space in the entire city has been shut. But it's like, it's different when you see it. And it's like, that place it's not just closed today. It is closed. Like you can feel the sort of silence around it. And, I don't know. It just all feels like, you guys, it's going to be rough. Coming back strong. Give me a break. Anyway. Whoo, boy. So we'll see what happens. So that's one. I hope all of you who are grappling with these things are doing okay. I think we're allowed to be angry because, at least I hope so, because I am. Because nobody helped. Nobody helped. Or like they did, but like, for example, this New York Times article that I read that was like, we're going to do this program that's going to be like the WPA. Great. That sounds great. Awesome. We're going to put artists to work. Great. Hallelujah. Fantastic. Pay on a bunch of artists. I'd like to hear it. And they're like, we're going to give 1,500 artists jobs. What? Like, what? I mean, that's great. That's a big number. Usually it's like 5. So that's good. But do you know how many artists live in this freaking city? Like, that is such a small percentage of us. Anyway, it's just like those things where it's like, okay, that's a good start. It's a good start. And I don't want to discourage them, but also it's nothing. Anyway, hooray! Here we go. We're going. I don't know what to do. I don't. So a song. How about that? How about I sing a song? That's the arts coming back strong. That didn't ever stop. So I've already sung songs from Les Miserables, which would have been the absolute perfect choice right here. Do You Hear the People Sing would have been absolutely the right song for this situation. Or Empty Chairs at Empty Tables. I have done both of them already. So, and the other, Les Mis songs are not the like, I don't know. They don't evoke that standing at the barricades situation. Maybe one day more, but I tried it and it no. Anyway, so if you would like to hear those songs, I have done them. If you would like to hear them, they are in episode 119, which is one woman's dystopia is another man's utopia. That's for Do You Hear the People Sing? And if you want to hear Empty Chairs at Empty Tables, it is episode 136, The Cafe Wall of Fame. So if you got a taste for that, it's in here. All the past episodes are available, should be in every podcast app. So, but so for now, for today, I figured a song about being strong would be good. And I looked up, songs about strong, and I didn't like a single one of them. And I kept going like, well, Something So Strong is like, it would be the perfect one if I hadn't already done it. And then I was like, wait a second, did I do it? Have I not done Something So Strong? And it turned, I searched and I have not. There is nary a recording of Something So Strong in any file that I have. And I could not believe it. So I was like, well, I guess that's settled. Something So Strong by Crowded House is going to be the song. When I got into working on it, I discovered why I've never recorded it before. Because I had trouble sort of accessing it in a funny way. Like, and I only just figured it out as I was recording for you all just now, where it's like, you can't sing it as a like sentimental song. Like, the song is actually full of fear. It's not Something So Strong, love is so great, isn't it awesome? It's actually like, love is really powerful and it could really kick your ass. So once I sort of turned my brain around, it got much, much better. So if you ever need to sing Something So Strong, I feel like that's the key, is that it is not actually a love song. It's a song about fear. Anyway, enjoy it. It'll be on here in just a minute. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. And if you would like to support the podcast, please tell someone about it. Also, just like tell me that you're listening. I love when I hear from people. That's also just like, oh yeah, great. There are actually people on the other end. So that's awesome. Also, if you'd like to support it with your dollars, there's patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. There is Ko-fi and PayPal. All those links are in the show notes. It is such an honor and a privilege when folks help and support this situation. That means the arts really can stay strong. So without further ado, I'm going to give to you Something So Strong by Crowded House. Well, this one's by me, but Crowded House. This is why I was sure I'd done the song before, because I'm a Crowded House head. I am a big fan. So anyway, here it is. It is Something So Strong on ukulele. Love can make you weep, can make you run for cover. Roots that spread so deep bring life to frozen ground. Something so strong could carry us away. Something so strong could carry us today. Turning in my sleep, well, love can leave you cold. Taste of jealousy is like a lust for gold. Something so strong could carry us away. Something so strong could carry us today. I've been feeling so much older. Frame me and hang me on the wall. I've seen you fall into the same trap. This thing is happening to us all. us away. Something so strong could carry us today. Something so strong. Something so strong. Something so strong. Something so strong.